Hey guys, welcome back to another week of the D2 Talks. This week I've decided to interview a very good friend of mine, Patrick Vogel. He's based in Hamburg, he's also a very talented designer. He manages a very small kind of boutique studio called Alt together with his wife Tanya. The reason why I decided to interview Patrick is because very often when I talk about the industry online, especially with the youngest people, I realize that there is always a little bit of friction and people that don't really believe that there are potentials in doing the job that we do. Patrick has a very cool, very motivational story of his own. I asked him if he could share it with us. Patrick and I met online on the Grasshopper forums, I think back in 2010 or 11. We were back then very active with anything that was related to parametric design. Then we both kind of took a turn towards the visual part of design and architecture. I met him the first time in 2015, I guess, or 2016 it might have been. At the D2 conference, I remember it was the year when Alex Ogrefe came to Vienna, and this was a very big deal because for both me and Patrick, Alex Ogrefe was kind of like a bit of a dream, I wanna say, you know, meeting him. We were both starstruck and it was a fantastic experience. Enough of me blah blah blah, enjoy the interview. What's happening, dude? Everything okay?
Yeah, everything, just fine.
Hold on a sec, I made myself a protein shake. You gotta keep healthy.
Yeah.
Everything okay?
Yeah, same with you in Tel Aviv?
Yeah, I have to say, today there are 24 degrees and I woke up a little bit late and then I was like, oh shit, I have the interview with Pat, and then he forgot.
Yeah, I would forget as well when I would have like 24 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
We have like 4 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
It's good. It's good in Hamburg. You have the same temperature the whole year, so.
I'll come and visit you sometime so you can show me around.
Too.
Anyway, dude, listen. You're probably wondering why we're doing this, right?
Kind of.
Okay, you know what? Let me just say, I might come off looking like a pighead or an idiot, but you know, sometimes you have a feeling about some people, you know, and you say, oh, I think that person is going to make it big one day. And actually, a lot of times, I kind of was right. Actually, very often. And the reason why I feel this way about you is because you and I have talked extensively in this last, I don't know, how long have we been knowing each other? Internet-wise.
Yeah. I think it's from our Rhino parametric Grasshopper community. I think we met each other online, like about 2010.
That sounds so creepy, huh?
I remember when you learned Maya.
Oh yeah. I went to Paris I did a workshop with the Jorge Ayala, you know, the designer.
Yeah, of course.
And then I had like Yulia Kerner and Adam Vukmanov as trainers. It was a lot of fun, but you know, it's Maya also had its limitations for what I wanted to do back then, and then I took other paths. Anyway, listen, the reason why I wanted to interview you is because very often we talk to a part of the community, of the 3D community, that seems like they have already all figured out. And I followed your path, I followed your struggle. I was there to support you when you needed it. I gave you some guidance. So I kind of want you to tell your story a little bit so that the youngest people, the ones that think that it's not possible anymore to make it in this business, can find a little bit of inspiration and understand what are the not the right steps, but rather like the strategy that they should use in order for them to not to make it, but to survive. Because at this point, I think that we are understanding that it's not about making it as a big artist. It's about finding a space in the community, in the field, and kind of continue doing it until you become better and better.
Yeah.
Okay, then go ahead. Tell us your story.
My story, without questions.
Without questions. Just
Okay,
make an
okay.
introduction about yourself, because people are probably asking, who is this fucking guy?
Yeah, maybe.
But,
my name is Patrick Vogel. I'm from Hamburg, Germany. And yeah, where should I begin? I was born in 1988.
That's probably a little bit too far.
And no, I studied architecture till like 2013, and this was the time where I met Fabio, like when we became online friends, because we met each other in the parametric Grasshopper and Rhino community.
Yeah, I remember that.
We were all really into this parametric stuff, and maybe you remember doing a Voronoi diagram was the greatest thing on earth.
Of course. There was the component, and people were figuring out how to crack it.
Yeah,
Or like,
and this was, yeah, I was when I studied architecture, I was kind of, feeling. It was not just a feeling. I was really alone because I was the only student at my university doing this parametric stuff, and I studied at a really kind of, in terms of design, kind of old-fashioned university. So I met all the people like Fabio, and then I just continued to do this parametric design stuff. I wrote a book about Grasshopper and Rhino. There was, I had lots of talks to Fabio at that time. And when I did all this...
Oh, Fabio, it's me, by the way. We're talking about Fabio in third person. Fabio!
Is he? Did you find him? No, I kind of realized in like 2011 that the most fun for me was always to like finish the project, to like sell the project to the professors at this time. So I kind of I was kind of diving into the world of 3D. I mean, to the world of ArcViz, and I always had the most fun in like visualizing my own projects or projects for my colleague students and stuff like that. And so it just came one thing to another. And like a lot of people, I started working as an architect in 2013 also, in summer. And I was, you remember, Fabio.
Of course.
You kind of have a similar story.
Well, but it's okay. Probably I can say what I remember. I remember you jumping from one job offer to another, trying to find a place in an office, and you never really felt like 100%, getting into it. Yeah. And I was like, I know, man, the struggle is real, and it's okay to feel that way, but the only thing that you can do is not to give up, because the moment you do give up and the moment you question yourself, then that's when you start to lose yourself as well.
Yeah.
And I think it was very clear with you that you were very creative, very, very entrepreneur, so to say. And the thing is that you can never tell a person go and be an entrepreneur. They have to figure it out by themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of true. It's I was always in this time where I decided, I want to do my own stuff. As you said, I switched jobs. I worked as a brand designer, like brand architecture, like built commercials, if you say it like that. And I worked in a huge design agency after my architect job, and everything was just, it was, you know what I mean. I can't really describe the feeling. I just had to found my own office, and the most important thing for me was when you have the feeling that you don't want to see your fucking boss anymore and stuff like that, you just have to do it. It's people. I always got myself some help from people like you and other people whose work I really admire. For example, I just write people if I need help. Same. I wrote. There was a time I wrote with Bjarke Ingels because I needed some help, and he really replied. And that's a cool advice. I really realized that it's just ask people. When you want to do something, just ask the people, the right people. You never know if they are the right people, but
being polite, because I get also, it's the voice goes around that I really like to help people, especially those who are really in need of help, and they come to me and they ask me questions. But sometimes I think that the cultural differences are sometimes a little bit the problem,
Yeah.
And
give me crack, sir.
Or
sir,
like,
please.
yo, bro, how do I do this? Yo, bro, DHDRI. And I'm like, okay, first of all, please and thank you will be highly appreciated. And I think it's, sometimes we do say that it's the cultural differences, but I always ask myself, why am I the only one that people are always very happy to talk to, and it's not the other way around? Why are people always so rude or direct or not interested, I don't know. I think sometimes it takes a little bit of elegance, a little bit of trainership to kind of know how to pose yourself. And I think this is one of the reasons why I always liked, to give you feedback and to talk with you. And I remember there were times we talked for hours on chat.
Yeah.
I remember the time that you were quitting the job and you were like, Fabio, fuck it, I'm doing this, I'm quitting, I'm so excited, I'm talking
And
to
I was
you.
shitting my pants.
I'm going to my boss and I tell him, I was like, way to go, man.
But in the end, I have to say, after I quit, I quit the job, and I just worked as a freelancer. I started working as a freelancer, and I knew some people here in Hamburg. So from my old agency, from my old architecture office, and so that was a good starting point. It's always a good starting point to know some people,
Of course.
so that you can like calculate a bit. But it worked out in the end. It worked out really, really well. I worked as a freelancer for the first year, and 3 months ago, we founded our. Do I say founded? Is it
We found.
Awesome. And we found our own tiny studio here in Hamburg called Alt Shift, and we did it. When I say we, I mean my wife and me.
Yeah.
Tanya, you know her.
We should probably introduce also your wife. Is she around?
Tanya, come over. She's like, Tanya, come over.
Well, okay, if she doesn't want to do that, what I'm going to say is that I met her personally when you came to Vienna. She's a super exquisite, sweet person, and I think you're a very blessed person, it's really, like, because I know what it's like to have to go around somebody that, or after somebody that has a mind that never stops, and you're always thinking of something, and it takes a woman with a lot of patience.
Yeah, a lot of.
For instance, my wife, she has a technique. She goes to work. She doesn't see me for like 12 hours a day.
That would be good for us as well, but not possible.
But it's okay. I think you guys are doing a great job. I think that I know that most of the stuff that you do, you don't publish, but I follow you also on your social medias, and I know you started recently to do this every day.
Yeah, because of Mike.
But fun enough, I mean, now, a lot of people don't give a lot of importance to social media, but I have 100 arguments that prove otherwise. And actually, Mike is you are one of the very few people that Mike Winkelmann follows on.
Yeah.
Actually, we should probably say who Mike is. Mike is His Majesty Beeple.
Awesome guy. Awesome guy. Yeah, I just had to start this everyday stuff.
But it helps, right?
It really helps. It's kind of. I realized I just did the, I think, number 100 or whatever after the D2. I did it every day, like the name says, and it's sometimes really, really annoying.
I know it takes a lot of consistency, and sometimes you really have to do stuff. I've tried myself, and I've seen that with me it didn't really work out because of the commitments that I had, and also having to post work that it's not really 100% with the brands that you represent and the people that surround you. It can get in the way. So this is one of the advantages to be completely free and to have the chance to experiment continuously. So for that, I have a huge appreciation, huge admiration for the work that you guys are doing. But one thing that I wanted to point out is that well, you'll have to give me your work later, or maybe I'll go and chase it so that I can show it to people. You have had also a shift from like complete archivist stuff, and now you're doing some other stuff as well. Yeah. Did that happen by yourself, or what was your influence? How did you?
The biggest influence, honestly, was my wife, because she always saw that I was interested in all of that stuff. I mean, I have in my opinion, it's like when you are able to do 3D stuff. So when you're once able to handle a specific software or whatever, and you come to the point where you think, man, I would like Chop from Studio Niscota. Yeah. Like he said at the D2 in 2015.
He was already, he was talking in 2016, but he was there in 15 and 17.
Yeah, and he was like, when there is a client and he said, yeah, guys, can you do this? And we are not able to do this, or we don't know how. We say, yeah, we can. So that's the kind of mindset that my wife introduced me to.
You have to do it when you are an entrepreneur. That's what you do. You say, I'll figure it out, and eventually you do. And I think this is the most beautiful thing that you can do, to figure out stuff. Okay, sorry for the little interruption. Lately I've been having some issues with my recordings. I just published an interview with Chris Precht, the architect.
Yeah.
And some of the Panda, and the some of the audio was completely messed up, so it took me 12 hours of editing to fix that video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and since I really do wanna share the knowledge, but I also have a job to do. Very often it becomes difficult to do these things for free, of course. Yeah. But anyway, and yes, the ability of figuring out things for the client. This is, I think, the main skill that an architect, a designer, a visualizer should figure out very early in their career, because you cannot just go into the market and say, oh, I visualize doors and that's all I do. I'll do the best door. It might work in the long run when you're very successful at making doors, but in the beginning you gotta have an octopus. You gotta have.
And that's we found out that that's really worth it to just make a shift from archivist to whatever and try this, try that, and that was I have the opinion that when you're able, what I wanted to say is when you're able to handle your 3D world and you're able to you can make whatever the fuck you want, like that. So why not saying, yeah, man, I just visualize your package of cigarettes, no problem. So it's, and also this everyday stuff on Instagram and whatever. There were in the last month, there were people writing us that, we are a little band from Florida. Can you do a cover art? Yeah. Why not? I mean, that's the fun about doing 3D stuff.
Yeah. This is a very important bit, because very often, okay, now I interrupt you, sorry. Very often when people say to me, using social media, it's useless because you should target, your clients, and your clients don't really come from social media. I'm like, you don't know the possibilities of reaching a huger number or bigger, huger, it's not a word, bigger number of people through social media, because you never know how the people on the other side might react and see value in what you do, you know. And now the fact that you're saying you ended up doing an album for a rock band, you will never know where that album will lead you one day, because maybe some other rock band will see it, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. I did once an album for a rock band, but the rock band split before they could pay me.
I mean, that can happen when you do stuff for bands. That's what I also realized. But no, it's cool what you said. I think one can break it down like to you. What I would really like to say is always move in angles. It's when you think about going like straight forward, it won't work out. That's what I realized all the way. Just move in angles, go there, see this, see that, and the best part of everything is that you keep learning. That's the coolest thing.
I think this is key. The keep learning part is key, and I think that a lot of people, they rely too much on having a set of skills for a very long time, and they don't realize that in a matter of like 6 months, whatever they know how to do, it'll probably be obsolete by the time that they actually do it. You know what I mean? This is also one of the reasons why I took a break from teaching, because I thought, or I felt, that in the last period of me teaching, I was kind of repeating things that you would now expect people to know. And I think this is one of the biggest issues with education, is that teachers cannot be hired as teachers and kept there as teachers. They should be people either coming from the industry, or if they are teachers, they should have a program for those teachers so that they continue learning, you know? Because there is...
You should teach the teachers, man.
Exactly. Well, not me, but, you know, there should be a way to make sure that the teachers are up to date with all the skills, because... You know, maybe in order for the university to update the research department of, say, an architectural design course or whatever, it takes them a period of time that goes like 5 to 10 years. And 5 to 10 years is a long time, you know? You're basically preparing people that are not ready to go into the world of business just because they don't have the skills. Also, business is never discussed at university, which is a big problem.
Nothing like that, nothing.
I always bring this up because, you know, this is part of my personal realm of interest at the moment, and very often I still get friction from other professionals, because, you know, they're like, yeah, but, you know, we're interested in the creative part of things. And of course, you can be creative and you can do it on your own time. But at the end of the day, you know, it's about also keeping the boat afloat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But what you just said, it's like what you said about the teachers. Maybe you remember your university times, and I'm kind of thankful that we had some professors. They were like ignorant, intolerant. They were honestly completely useless. But I'm really thankful, because those people have shown to us that we want to do it different. So there was also the time in the architecture office, the time in the agency, that every one of us experienced stuff that was like, no, I don't want to do it like that. And so I think you have to come to this point also because of stupid teachers or whatever. You can be thankful.
But you know, the thing is that not all students are like you know what I mean? And I mean, if we could really go into the discussion of teaching, but I don't want to make this about myself, because, you know, I'm always like, one of the reasons also why I do these talks is because I want to hear what people coming from the other side have to say, because, you know, I'm very concerned. A couple of days ago, I was talking to a teacher, and this teacher was a very good teacher that I had at university, and it's because of him that I started to be interested in creativity and business, because he wrote a couple of books. He was my teacher at university, and I was like, man, I've been a teacher myself at university. Sometimes you go to bed thinking, I hope my students will be okay, you know? I'm like, I just want to tell you that I'm okay. So you can probably sleep at least once thinking that, you're not going to have a problem. Anyway, enough of this. There are another couple of things that I want to ask you. And, funny enough, we're already 25 minutes in the recording. Time flies. Time flies. First of all, I would like to ask you, was there like something that you could recommend to people your age or younger that are looking into doing the same career? What is the best, say, 3 tips that you could give them? Or even if it's not 3, what is the best tip that you can give them?
The best tip? Yeah. I think I can't say that I made it, but I think I'm on my way. And the best tip I can give is that when there is the point that you feel the stuff that you are doing is not your hobby, quit it. Immediately quit it. So the best tip is, your job has to be your hobby. And when you reach that point, or you think about, just think about what would I love to do all the day? What's the thing that I'm watching in bed, like the tutorials? When you start watching tutorials in bed, laying next to your wife, that's kind of strange. But then you realize.
Okay. I remember we had a conversation. I don't know if you remember it, where you were like, "Man, I go to sleep watching After Effects tutorials." You remember? I was like, I cannot blame you. I do the same.
I think it's not a good tip. Just try to find out what's your passion, and if you think about and you're kind of that's it. I want to do that. Just do it. It's always so simple to say just do it, but it's the same with quitting to smoke. Everyone, I just quit smoking 5 weeks ago. Don't know if
you. Oh, congratulations!
But it's kind of the same. People always say if you want to quit smoking, just quit, and you always know I can't. I have to get some nicotine chewing gum and stuff like that, or an electro cigarette. It's all wrong. Just do it, and then it works. Yeah. And it's the same thing with your passion. But when I really, a good tip is just surround yourself with people you like and whose work you admire, who you like personally, people who try to help you, good friends and stuff, and just talk about what you want to do. Yeah. So a lot of people will give you feedback. You can get feedback everywhere, shitty feedback or awesome feedback, whatever you like.
Yeah, that's the thing, it's also a discussion all the time. I mean, I follow, people online that are professionals, good professionals that know how to teach, and they do it with their courses, and I see the people that study those courses, how much better they get. I can say with a little bit of pride that the courses that I've done for V-Ray and Cinema 4D have helped a lot of people, to get better. But I also see a lot of people that, just talk because they want to talk and because they think they can do better. And I see that those people congregate also, and the stuff that they do, it's only complaining and, making shit work. I don't know. I think also there is a certain urgency for people to understand that, if the priority for them is to make money, probably they should focus on making money. And it's like having a car. And if you have a car and the car doesn't work, it doesn't matter how much you clean it and how beautiful you make it. The priority is to make the car work. You know what I mean? Yeah. So very often what I think of myself is yes, of course you need to find your passion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that your passion needs to be your job. And very often I think, that some people might benefit from not having that thing as a job. Like, for instance, myself, I've had a couple of situations where, I used to be an architect before doing 3D. And in architecture, I could have murdered somebody.
Same here.
The projects were so long and I did not have the patience to go back to the office after say 3 months working on the same window. It was
Yeah.
one window. Move it 5 meters to the right, 5 meters to the left. So, in a way, 3D was my passion back then because I was looking at it and then I had to learn it and then I made it my own job. But, in a way, back then I could not have made money with 3D because I was not able to. So I had to be an architect instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. It's I got you. Same here. It was the same story. And what you were asking, I was just thinking about. I think the most important thing for me was really the people. And another tip is get yourself some for the younger people that helped me a lot. And get yourself some idols and role models. Sounds stupid, I know, but for example, when we found our studio here, we were thinking about what would we like to become. We like to become a big studio in the future. Don't know if that will work out, or would we like to be a small studio with like 2 to 5 people, but maybe really funky,
like a boutique, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. And then we thought about we found out about some other studios, not always Archviz or 3D related. There was, I remember one studio that really impressed me. They are called Snask, SNASK, from Sweden.
Yeah, I think I know them.
They are a design agency, and they are pretending to be a band. They are really, really weird, and I love this. I love this studio. I found out a few weeks ago about them, and they do fun project by their own. For example, they did a corporate identity for North Korea, a new corporate design for North Korea, and it's kind of an idol or a role model that we think about, and we think, we want to kind of become more like that as like the big studio. That always helps a lot.
Sounds like a lot of...
Sounds stupid, but...
No, it sounds like a lot of fun. There is this documentary series on Netflix about design, and Bjarke Ingels is interviewed. They have the Nike guy, what's his name? Now I forget the famous shoe designer. Yeah. Anyway, and actually, I'm surprised how very often the people that are the most innovating or working on the nicest projects are basically one-man shows. They're in an office somewhere in a city that nobody has ever heard of. Very small. They surround themselves by nature. What they do is, meditate. They do all this kind of alternative activities, and the stuff that they do, it's actually really, really inspiring. And I think that sometimes it's also a little bit of naivety, naivety, being naive.
I got you.
Being naive, that sometimes makes you do stuff that other people don't find so bad. Like, for instance, I can give you a very stupid example. On my YouTube channel, I like to make vlogs and tell stories about my day and whatever.
Everyone knows that.
But I find them very often very influenced by the work of big other YouTubers. That's because that's what I watch, and it becomes very, very easy that people might point in your work and say, yeah, but this every day looks like the one of people. And I'm like, what's the problem? There is no issue with that.
That's completely true. I did also some everydays where I, like 10 minutes before, I saw some stuff from people and thought, whoa, cool. Let's try to do something out of that. That also happens. It's
an ability also to replicate what other people do, right?
So I think it's nothing bad as long as you use things as inspiration, but there are days where you just have an idea and that's awesome and you do whatever the fuck you like. And there are other days where I check out Pinterest just to get some impressions or stuff. For me, nobody can tell me that he's all the day, every day he's full of ideas. You have days where you're not creative as you would like to be. So
No, amen to that. You know, it's 100% with you. Tell me one artist that really influences your work, or that you look at and you say, I would like to be like that person.
Like that person, or like to work like that person?
To work like that person, of course.
Okay. That's a tough question. I really like the work of Robot, like the work of Juan Garcia from Mexico,
yeah.
because he's a really versatile guy. He's like doing everything. That's awesome. I like the work of Dean and Chop from Studio Niscota. They are like really impressive guys because they are just doing whatever the fuck they want. Other guys, I think Juan Garcia is one of my favorite artists. Of course, the realistic stuff of Johannes Lindqvist and Daniel Reuterswärd.
Okay.
Awesome. I think there are a lot of talented artists. There's one guy from Vietnam whose work I really admire is Mio Tsuko.
Okay, I'll have to look it up because maybe I know it.
He's really, really good.
I would have thought that, Alex Ogrefe would have been the...
From the creative point of view, Alex Ogrefe, of course. Yeah, we also met this guy. He's amazing. He's
super cool.
He's using SketchUp and Photoshop, and he doesn't give a shit. So everyone is telling him, why are you using SketchUp? That was always the question at D2. People came to him and said, why are you using SketchUp? And that's some really cool point about him. He's just doing.
Yeah.
And he has his own style. And of course, Alex, as I said, there are a lot of cool people.
I know.
Or another really, really good one whose stuff I really like is Nuno Silva. From Portugal. Because he has such a clean and cool style.
I know.
But that's all the professional point of view, like the creative point of view, and like the personal point of view, it would be like the guys from Snask. They are just having fun.
I'll have to look them up. I'm writing all this stuff, I think that Swedish people, they really have that Dilligaf attitude. You know what Dilligaf is?
No, I was just doing, but no.
Dilligaf means, do I look like I give a fuck?
Yeah.
So, it's good, but you're giving me some material for me to research and eventually, have some ideas about probably future activities for the D2 conference, maybe?
Would love to, man.
Dude, listen, for now, I just want to thank you for taking the time to do this talk. We're running out a little bit of time, that I have this limitation with Zoom, and Zoom is giving me 5 minutes. So before it's gonna cut us out, I just want to thank you very much for taking the time to do this. Tell me, where do people can find you? If they're looking for you, just say it. Then probably I'll try to put some links or something.
Okay. First, I have to thank you for the interview. I have to say, you really surprised me today because I didn't really know. And I was just heading home, getting my laptop, running through the city. So thank you, Fabio. And where can you find me? It's our studio is called Alt Shift, like ALTSHIFT.de. So that's the address. Or you find us our everyday project or our everyday project on Instagram. It's instagram.com/altshift.de. Yeah.
Great. I'll put the links.
And also you find all the Behance and ArtStation stuff, and
I'm sure that people will come with questions because they already did it. I don't know if you had the chance to watch the video that I did with Justin Bourne.
Yeah, I also wrote him.
Okay.
Just after the video I saw, because I had some entrepreneur questions, and he's a cool guy.
So you see, it's very good to do this kind of talks to kind of create a feedback loop for people where you can kind of meet, talk, and hopefully make the best out of your career. I think that probably the reason why people are liking this interview so much, it's because of the possibilities that it gives them, you know? Dude, we're running out of time. I have to say goodbye. I'm gonna stop the recording and then I'm going to say goodbye to you and to Tanya, okay?
Okay.
Thanks a lot for taking the time to do this, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you. See you.